Hey guys, we're here with another Foundations video where we're going to talk about choosing chord shapes on acoustic guitar that will serve the songs we lead most effectively. Now, acoustic guitar is a really helpful instrument to have in a wide range of worship sets, all the way from a full band to a solo worship leader acoustic and vocal setup. Most of the time we see them played by a worship leader, but acoustic guitar is something that all guitar players, including electric guitar players, should be ready to play at any time. To help you craft your acoustic parts well, we're going to discuss the role of acoustic guitar in a worship set, chord shapes that we should be aiming to play, and how we can utilize a capo to our benefit. For most of the songs that we lead in our services, acoustic guitar plays a supporting role in the overall mix, whether in a full or broken down band. And there are a few things that can be done in both the right and left hands that will allow an acoustic player's sound to be very supportive. With our right hand, for right-handed players, we can directly affect how much rhythmic energy is present and the tonal characteristics of that energy. Being mindful of your strumming pattern will help you fill in the gaps left open by other band members in different parts of a song. For example, if your keys player is playing whole note block chords in a verse, you could fill in the remaining 3 quarter notes or 7 more eighth notes with your strumming. Another thing to consider is that a big part of being mindful of your strumming pattern is considering moments where your guitar isn't actually needed much. Don't feel pressured to be constantly playing, but instead listen to the rest of your band and let the dynamics of the song influence your decisions. Another thing that is affected by our right hand is the rhythmic sound of the guitar. I like to think of my guitar as providing a texture similar to that of a shaker or tambourine, and my choice to use a pick or my fingers directly influences the level of brightness or warmth. Picking with your fingers will typically give you the warmest sound, and using a light pick will give you a bright sound. Now, I have a heavy pick here as well, and you can hear the difference between the light and heavy. So here's heavier. It's going to be kind of in the middle of the fingers and the light pick. But going back to the light pick gives me more of that bright sound. So just think about that as you choose your pick. And also consider the amount of force that you use when using a pick. It's easy to get caught up in a big moment and really mash the guitar, but that may not always give you the best sound. If you're trying to provide texture, a light or medium level of strumming force will typically give you all that you need. So think about that as you play. With the chords and neck positions we choose with our left hand, we can support the melodic movement of the song we are playing. There are many different inversions and variations of chords that we can use on acoustic guitar, and we should do all that we can to choose shapes that support where the rest of the instruments and vocals are going. One simple way to figure out the basic melodic structure of a song is to identify the intervals that make up the lead vocal part. And after you've identified those intervals, you can then make a decision on which chord shapes to use. So taking the song "Oh Praise the Name," for example, just looking at the verse and chorus, I cast my mind. So in the key of C, there's that perfect fifth in that verse. And then going to the chorus, it starts with, oh praise, on that octave C right there. So I'm gonna choose shapes in the key of C that really highlight the perfect fifth in that higher octave. So as I play my C shapes, I'm going to want to play chords in any number that highlight those notes. So for example, as I play, I cast my mind to Calvary, where Jesus bled and died for me. I'm always keeping the G and the C open. Now, on a song like Living Hope, I might want to highlight the third interval. So, how great the chasm, 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna wanna pick shapes that highlight the thirds. So, how great the chasm that lay between us, how high the mountain, 1, 2, 3, I could not climb. So there's a slight difference there between songs in the same key that will influence the different chord shapes that I use. So going back to "Oh Praise the Name" in the key of C, I'd like to compare more of a melodic feel that we talked about with our chord shapes to strictly adhering to some basic chord shapes in the key of C and comparing how that feels on the verse. So starting with a melodic feel where I'm really trying to follow the melody and highlight the perfect fifth and octave up in the key of C, the verse is going to sound something like this. I cast my mind to Calvary, where Jesus bled and died for me. I see his wounds, his hands, his feet, my Savior on that cursed tree. So in a couple of examples of those chords, like the 4, for example, I didn't play the full F, but I left that open G string open and let the G and C ring out. Now if we go to a more rigid and structured chord progression, this is what it would sound like. I cast my mind to Calvary, where Jesus bled and died for me. I see his wounds, his hands, his feet, my Savior on that cursed tree. If you noticed when we played that version, the chords were correct, but they didn't feel connected in any way. They just felt like isolated chords that had to be played to kind of support the vocal part. But you see in the first example that my guitar was supporting the vocal in the direction of the song as a whole. Now, after you've identified the chord shapes that highlighted the melodic structure of the song, the next step is to maximize the amount of open strings that are resonating as you play. This helps your playing sound more clean, as you don't have to fight fret buzz that often accompanies playing full bar chords, and it increases the sustain of your guitar substantially. Open chords are often the ones that also contribute most to the melodic structure of the song anyways, so it's a win-win. Sometimes the combination of a song's melodic structure and the key that your team is leading it in makes it difficult to find open chords that allow you to support it well on acoustic guitar. And a capo is a great tool to use to put yourself in a position to do so. Capos effectively raise the position of the nut of your guitar, which basically acts as fret 0. So if I put my capo on the 2nd fret, the second position notes now become my open string notes, and the open chords I play have a pitch increase of 2 semitones compared to no capo. So if we're playing Living Hope in the key of D instead of C like earlier, and I really want to highlight the 3rd interval like we discussed earlier, I probably would capo on the 2nd fret and play in open C shapes. So my capo is on the 2nd fret, and though we're in the key of D, I'm going to play in C shapes, and that will allow me to play the 3rd intervals that I really want to stick out in this song. That lay between us, how high the mountain I could not climb. So those resonate really well and allow me to highlight the notes that I want to highlight for that song. And one thing to consider when using a capo is that your guitar may sound a bit unnatural if you go too high on the fretboard. My recommendation is to go no higher than the 4th fret when using a capo, because after the 4th fret, there aren't many chord shapes that have a good balance between low and high end tones on acoustic, and you'll likely be able to achieve the sound you want with open chords on lower frets. One final note about capos is that using one does not make you a bad guitar player, especially if you're using it with a purpose. There are quite a few guitar players out there that believe using a capo is cheating and that it should only be done if you have trouble with some chord shapes. While you should definitely do your best to be able to cover all the different open chord shapes, I want to remind you all that playing acoustic guitar, or any other instrument for that matter, in corporate worship is not for the purpose of demonstrating your skill, but often requires you to sacrifice personal preference and the spotlight in order to contribute meaningfully to your entire band and audio team's effort to facilitate singing to the Lord. So don't be discouraged by others to use a capo, because using one will often result in a more helpful and excellent sound in the context of your band and worship set. We hope that this video has been helpful to you in providing some guidelines for choosing chord shapes as you lead with an acoustic guitar in your worship sets. And if you have any questions about this content at all, please feel free to reach out to us at worship@grace-bible.org. And we'll see you next time.